What's up, y'all? It's the Relentless podcast where we're stirring up passion and purpose for marriage.
That's right. We're diving into topics you always wanted to talk about. Real life, real struggles, real love, and real results. So what are we waiting for? Let's go in. Yo, welcome back, friends and family, to the Relentless Love Podcast, man. Thank y'all for tuning in with us each week, man. And for the past few months, man, y'all have been rocking with us, and we appreciate y'all, man. It's crazy that we already in the month of June. Like, what's up with the time flying so fast?
I don't know. I guess it flies when you're having fun.
Yeah,
Definitely
true.
enjoyed it.
True.
Thank y'all for the feedback. We hear that y'all are enjoying it. So if you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms so you never miss a drop. Plus, we are taking a break to focus on us, focus on family. So season 1 will be wrapping, and we want to make sure you don't miss the launch of season 2.
Facts, man. We got to get some rest. We've been staying up to 2, 3 in the morning, working, but also quality timing with Yellowstone. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Yellowstone. We kind of like, we're a little late to tapping in with it, but we've been on watching those seasons, and it's been like great, bro. It's been dope.
It's been interesting.
It's been our quality time of bonding lately, man. Like just staying up and watching that, and some interesting characters on that show.
For sure. So it's funny, one of the recent episodes, Beth proposed to Rip.
Right, yeah. Rip was just like, he been pursuing this woman, like just loving on that woman for all these years, and just never crossed the line to just say, man, hey, what's up, man? Let's do this thing.
I get it with their dynamics, but that actually is very fascinating in light of the topic today, which is a good man is hard to find. We're gonna debunk this myth.
Yeah.
Would you say Rip is a good man? What you think?
Yeah. Look, he got some good characteristics.
I think Rip is
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. All of them good. They just got some trauma.
They have some trauma.
Beth is something else, though.
With that said, you can't, throw a baby out with the bathwater. We all have our stuff. We have our issues that shape us. But we're gonna talk about how you can find the good qualities in a man.
Right. Yeah.
So, Brock, what are your thoughts about that notion that a good man is hard to find?
They out there, just depending on what you're looking for. It depends on what your standards are, how you define good. Everybody's definition of good is different, across the board. But like, man, if you're searching, then you might end up not finding what you want versus letting it come to you. I think the whole pursuit aspect of a man finding a wife, a man seeking out and then seeing what's valuable and then pursuing versus the woman going out hunting. I think it creates a different dynamic, like, with how you are searching or allowing that to happen in your life.
I think because we've talked a lot about strong women, and if you are that strong woman who knows what you want, there's a tendency to you try to find it. But what happens if you do find it and you're always the one initiating, then it creates that frustration in the relationship of why am I working more than you? So I think that's the first issue is the woman should not be finding the man. Let him find you.
Yeah, I found you.
You did find me.
Yeah.
I wasn't checking for you.
Nah, she wasn't checking for me. Y'all go to episode 1 or 2.
It. I could have missed the goodness that was there because he didn't, he wasn't packaged maybe in the way that I intended.
Yeah, she wanted like a 7'3" NBA basketball player. I'm like 5'7", 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. You know what I mean?
So the joke is he at some point he went in a journal from when I was single and saw my list, which we'll talk about the list and the pros and cons of having a list. And he saw on my list was like 6'3". And I put that because my dad and my brother, they're like 6'2". So I'm like, okay, just that right. Me being a strong woman, the height is like, okay, it at least creates that differential, right? Of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But should that have been on my list? No. So we'll talk about that. But he never lets me.
Well, look, man, I'm
let that go.
I'm a shorty, man. You know what I mean? No, but it's a running joke, really. I don't care. I'm secure with my height. I don't
probably
care about
a little passive aggression, but that's okay.
But it's just the fact of having a box list of what you think is gonna be good, and then you end up boxing out what could be good to come into your life. And like with you, I mean, same dynamic. I didn't have a list, but I had an idea of what women I dealt with in the past and what woman would be good to me. And then here you come waltzing into 24-hour fitness. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute. This is totally different, but I like this. You know what I mean? And it ended up being what was for me. You know what I mean? And I began to initiate the pursuit after you asked me out to go on a date.
I guess I was like Beth. It wasn't intentional. So before we get into the qualities and how you recognize them, Rock, what would you say to a good man who maybe is being overlooked? Like, what does pursuit look like when you have those dynamics going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think just confidence and consistency, and you can't feel like you're getting shot down because it don't work instantly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're gonna get some dismissal. You're gonna get some, I don't say rejection in a harsh way, but maybe she ain't ready yet to receive you yet. And then if you just be like, oh man, the first time I tried to call her, or the first time I tried to text, she didn't respond back, and now I'm overlooked. Okay, well, maybe she just needs some time to process or actually see your consistency in the pursuit aspect. Be like, you know what? Maybe I am gonna hit him back. Maybe I am. And so I wouldn't get insecure or start thinking that you're just being rejected because there's something wrong with you all the time. It may not be you. And if you just give up and then start getting insecure, then it's going to affect your confidence. It's going to affect everything. And now, what woman would want that?
Yeah, because where a man is values and appreciates physical, beauty and figure, women, I think it's a confidence and it's a just kind of having yourself together that's attractive. So if you're falling apart at the first sign of rejection, that's probably not going to draw that woman in, especially if she is a strong woman and she knows what she wants. So
right.
That's a good point.
And a lot of times men believe that defines us is how many women respond to who we are, how many times we get, we grew up, man, I got 5 numbers. I got 12 numbers at the party. I danced with this many girls, and that be the measure of success of, I'm good. Oh, I'm top tier. But the rejection in contrast to that can kill a man's confidence, but that's the wrong perspective to have.
Yeah, and anything good and worth like fighting for is like it is just that. Like something great, there's more effort that's required to be put into it.
Right. But there's a lot of good guys out there. Like my circle of friends and people I know, man, like they're genuinely good people. And it's not perfection,
that are still single.
Facts. A lot of them, man. We mentor a lot of young adults, man, that are really finding themselves and gaining confidence and identity. And so, to kind of hear those terms, I don't want to say they're cliche, but people believe, man, it ain't no good man out here. Everybody ratchet. Everybody just wilding and just loose and doing their thing. Yeah. That's not true.
Yeah. So then I would say, how do you recognize a good man and not overlook it and miss it? And so I think about, so I'm a realtor. That's one of the hats that I wear. And, working with clients, I've noticed a pattern of the perspective going in. Like it's important to know what you want and to have your criteria, but we have to prioritize it too, right? Because it's unrealistic to expect any house to be in perfect condition. And it's the same with people in a relationship. Like there is no perfect person. Life shapes us. It hits us in different ways, or we're in different seasons and you might catch them in an off season. It doesn't mean there's not goodness there.
Right.
So, what we say with our clients is look for the good bones. It may not be a new construction. It might be a 1979. Our house is 1979, but does it have a good foundation? Even when we have foundation issues, can you work with it? Is there growth? Is there potential in it?
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that, Brock?
Yeah, I think just, you catch people in phases of their life where they're processing through things, but, kind of goes back to, do they got good values?
Right.
Do the values align? Are y'all going in the same direction? Like stuff like that. Like we talked about it, I think, on the way over here about like skills.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus character flaw. Like stuff like that. Like gauging those things and saying this person is actually trending this way, but they're not at the top king already, right? Like you don't want to be like, well, I need the king. I need the king now. Like, well, what about he's learning to be the king and he's trending this way, and it's not the perfection, but man, the bones, the framework, the foundation is there.
The high value items are there, because the beauty of it is when you find a man that is trending or growing or there's potential, you get to be a part of creating that empire. And, age plays a lot into it, right? Maturity, where you are in that phase, whether you're establishing a career or not, but it doesn't mean he can't get to that vision that you have in your mind. Yeah. So I think, you don't want a fixer upper, right? You don't want a gut job of a man, which, if I'm honest, some women actually lean in that way, right? Because they have a heart of, oh, I want to fix them all, just this bleeding heart. But none of us can fix anybody.
We can't
change anybody. And that is not a healthy dynamic to look for. You don't want somebody who needs so much work.
Right. Yeah, you can't fix anybody, but I think, this the encouragement of looking for people who want to be healthy, looking for people who want to grow, looking for a man that's wanting to have aspirations to be a better version of himself. Yeah. And that your lives and values are aligning, right? Okay, that don't mean that that's the one you need to put get the ring from right then and there, but that's not like, man, he's still cussing, man. I can't. Right. He's still like, he ain't got $1 million in the bank. I can't really. Man, that's a good dude. Yeah. He's just working towards building. And like, you don't need to come in and try to make him or force him or build him into it. Right. Can you come alongside him? Can you see the potential in that and not just dismiss it as, he's not good. Yeah. He don't fit the mold.
So one example we were joking about is, is he still living with his mom? Like, that's a big checkbox. So I would say, like, there's some gray area to it. There's some it's a spectrum, right? And it's all about perspective. So is he living with his mom because he's lazy and he has no job, or is he living with his mom because
don't do those guys? If he's lazy in the bum and just that, all right, leave him over there.
Yeah, if he's in a hard transition, he went through a divorce where maybe his bank account was wiped out and he has no choice. Like, understanding all of the circumstances is different. And does he have a plan? And is he working the plan? Right. Mm-hmm. And so don't write him off just because he's living with his mom or whatever the case might be. That's just one example. Like, hear his heart, hear his aspirations, ask good questions, but have grace, right? We got to meet people where they are sometimes.
Right. Yeah. The 1-bedroom apartment guys, the guys that's in between jobs, but searching for jobs, like the things of that, like, you never know how life has hit people. Right. But they might genuinely be a good guy that you might overlook because they don't fit into, like you say, the description.
Now, the other side of the coin, you might meet a man who's very established in his career. He is great with money, but he is a miser, and you are miserable because he's so tight and so selfish, and it's all about him and what he wants. So
character flaws.
Yeah, you can't define a man as good or label him as good based on his net worth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. This whole time we talking, I'm thinking about a couple, an individual that we mentored that met somebody. Mm-hmm. Found somebody, online dated. I love hearing the stories of online dating because we didn't grow up in that era. But they're like, I went on and I clicked these pictures and did and then we end up connecting, and they hit it off real quick, and then they hit some barriers, and both of them were in growing phase. They're not like in prime, like we are at the mountaintop of our lives and life is really clicking and all that. But both of them are growing and developing, but we kind of got a chance to kind of see a little bit of their dating experience, where they clicked and they clashed, and they're like, I don't want to do this no more. Yeah. And they come back together and do it. Like, it's a dance, but in my mind, what I see is they saw something good in each other, right? Man, he's a good guy. Man, that's a good girl. It ain't perfect. He ain't perfect. He got some stuff. And the flaws came out, and they conflicted. Yeah.
And the reality is we all have our flaws. Right. And sometimes we see them before marriage. Sometimes it comes out as a result of the marriage, and the childhood trauma starts peeping out. We can't hide it anymore. Right. But it doesn't mean there's not value. Just like the example of the house, it could be that older house, but you can change the countertops, you can change the floors, you can add value, and you get to do that together. That's the exciting part of the journey.
Yeah. So I think it was cool that they're doing it together. We get to see kind of a little bit of that, and they're actually getting ready to do the premarital coaching and all that kind of stuff. And so like, I think that's a beautiful portrait of seeing the good guy in somebody or seeing the good girl, right? And then saying, I can work with that.
I actually thought you were talking about the the young man who got catfished.
Oh no.
That's where I thought you were going.
No. But don't get catfished.
Please don't.
That's the worst. I like that I get to see what I got to physically see what I was getting into. Like confirmed. It was confirmation. Of what I had when you walked at 24.
So even when you know get to meet them and you got beyond getting catfish, like you have to learn the art of asking the right questions. One, you kind of have to know who you are and what you're looking for and what you need. And I think that's a good transition into what are good qualities that you find in a man. I think you have to, as a woman, know who you are, be confident in that, and not look for the man to complete you. He should compliment you. And we've talked about that.
Yeah. One of the big things we talked about was like just being, a term it's a biblical term about being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
Right. Like in that term, that means like, man, are we going in this direction?
Yeah.
Or are our lives trending to go this way? Like, and the big things are like faith and belief systems, man. Like, man, your faith system is over here in this world and my faith system over here. Well, if I'm living a life where I'm trying to live this way and you kind of like going that way, it's going to be hard to date or to build a life together when you're not yoked and synced up and saying our destination is this way.
Right.
So it kind of like those things are big in the values and faiths and belief systems.
And it should be a non-negotiable. However, ladies, especially in the Christian faith, I hear a lot with the young women that I hear, it's like this expectation that, he should be here in his faith, or he should know this much about the word, or he should almost like being a pastor. That is an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
If his heart is in the right place, he desires what you desire in faith. Give grace for growth, give room for growth. Don't expect that he has to have it all figured out. That doesn't necessarily mean you're not equally yoked. You're moving in the same direction. One of you might be a little ahead of each other. And it requires humility and grace.
Right. Yeah. That was actually part of our story. You was like maybe a year or two ahead of me in your faith walk, man. And I was just like, man, I'm just getting my feet in the water a little bit. Like, man, let me see.
And it's not necessarily about years. It's about the depth of how much effort have you put into that relationship. And you can't necessarily measure that. So with that said, a man may not share all of, the deep things of his heart. And that's okay for him to be a little guarded. It doesn't mean it's not there. So don't write him off for that.
Facts. But you can at least see, hey, we're lined up there. Yep. Like we're not on opposite ends of the spectrum of that. And I think that's a good, value and starting point. Is like, man, okay, tell me about yourself, man. What do you believe about the world? What you believe about life? What do you believe about faith? What do you believe about this and that?
Yeah.
And you can kind of gauge, okay, cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you don't reject anybody as far as their character because of that. So we're not saying, that's a bad guy because he don't believe. No, it's just, we're not aligned that way. And that might be an obstacle.
Even within your faith, even within the Christian faith, there are different denominations, different perspectives on things. So understanding that could be the case with this potential spouse, it doesn't mean it's not right. You have to decide what is non-negotiable for me and what is, and make sure that it's healthy and you're not just trying to control and make somebody fit into this box.
Facts. Yeah. And that, I think, just to make sure that it's clear, this doesn't align with if a person is good or not. This is the alignment, like, are our lives going to be compatible if we were to pursue something beyond just getting to know each other?
Exactly.
And so that's kind of where you say, okay, well, this may not work long term, but man, you're a good person.
Yeah, is it good for me in the direction I'm going?
Facts.
So faith is a big one. What else? How does he treat you? How does he show up? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel loved? Do you feel respected? It doesn't mean he's going to be perfect in his communication, but is he trying, right? Is he, for the most part, making you feel safe? And you're going to have conflict. Every marriage is going to have conflict. Right. So you're not looking for a perfect communicator, but is he able to share his heart enough that you know where he stands with you? And do you feel safe to hear his heart.
Yeah, I mean, because communication is one of the biggest issues, even with people who go ahead and cross the line and get married. You're gonna have communication issues anyway. So if you get into it, like on the onset, right, of like, man, I just met the dude, and like I can't even hardly talk to him. Like that could be a barrier there. It could be worked on. We had it, you know, initially in our.
It was a skill issue for us. So you can you build that skill? And it's a conversation. Are you willing to work on that? Like I'm realizing, man, every time we talk about this, you get triggered. Are they open to counseling? Those are things, and that could have been a flag for us. You were like, nope, I'm not doing counseling. So, you know, that's just something you consider in that. So faith, how they love you, how they treat you, how they respect you.
Yeah, safety, feeling to be safe.
I think attraction is important. And
you think it's important? What? You think what? It is important.
we just joked.
Yeah, we joked about this. This is a running joke.
Because attraction doesn't define if they're good for you or not, right? So you grew on me. It wasn't an instant physical attraction. And so for me, that's why I say I'm not sure.
Right. Well, it's my perspective is that the person that you're gonna be with, the person that you want to do long-term life or even dating with, like you gotta at least enjoy or take pleasure in what you see and what you're around. And I'm not talking about sexual. I'm talking about, man, do I like looking at this person? Do I like their aura? Do I like their, you know, what they give off, their vibe, their confidence, their personality, like all that. Like, if you're looking at a person, you're just like, I'm just not really.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're gonna easily see somebody else and be like, and then that's gonna be offensive, or you're not doing them justice by
you're not honoring
by keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it plays a role, and there's beautiful people, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So, you know, like what's beautiful to you, honor that, like acknowledge it. You know what I mean? But that plays a role in like who you're looking for, or who finds you as a woman, like the man that finds you.
Yeah. And I think just what you want out of life, what you enjoy, doesn't mean we're going to share all the same interests, but do you have enough common interests that there's common ground to build upon?
Right.
I think that's really important.
Yeah. No, true. And just the life direction. I think we talked about it earlier. Like, man, if you're trying to be the man you meet, he's like, man, I'm finna join the Navy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be traveling across the world the next 10, 12 years of my life. Yeah. And then, you know, you have aspirations of doing something else that will have you going this way.
Right.
That might be hard, you know. I've heard of long distance relationships and stuff like that. I think that's a miracle when those things work out. But man, that's a rare thing to have.
Or is it something you're willing to work on, and is your relationship strong enough? Like if you have great communication and, you know, you can overcome those barriers, then that's different. So we don't want to define that for you. But in the relationship, you need to decide, is this something I can work with? Is it short term? Is it long term? And where do you see yourselves together? Right. Can y'all even have that conversation about the future?
Right.
That's how you know it's a good man. Y'all are dreaming together. Y'all are talking and just sharing in those ideas. Right. I think that's a great sign.
Yeah, for real. Yep. I remember us, both of us were moving when we met. And I was moving, and we didn't talk about it. I was moving to Dallas, Fort Worth, and then you was like, oh, man, hold up. You moving that way? And I'm kind of going that way. Like, it just looked like, okay, there's potential here. And then, I don't know, you can express what qualities you saw in me as what you thought was good, just to give them an example. But what were those things that was like, this is a good dude, and this might potentially be something?
Well, I went through it at length in one of our previous episodes, but essentially I knew what I wanted. I had gotten to a place, I was a young adult, like what, 23 when we met, 23. Probably 24 when we got married. And I had taken the time, so that's the encouragement I would give to you, whether you're a man or a woman. You have to take the time to know yourself, so that you know what you want, where you're going, so that you have something to look at the criteria and measure it up to. And so I knew I wanted a man who was loving, who loved family, because that's important to me, who's creative, who loves the Lord, but it's more of a passion, not like how much theology he knows. So those are just a couple examples. I'm going to make y'all go back and listen to the
episode. We can't give them the whole spiel. Don't spill the whole tea.
But those were like, I had my list, and Brock checked off 95%. Like the one thing, probably 99, the one thing was the joke about the height, right? That shouldn't have been on my list. So I would say there's nothing wrong with having that list, because as women, we tend to compromise, right? And not have standards. And I don't even like saying standards. I would say expectation or values. Have that list of values that you're looking for, so you recognize and you don't miss it. Because I would have missed it if I didn't take the time to have that list. As I got to know Brock, then I saw, oh, he actually does check this off, and he checks this off. And so that's how I knew.
Yeah. It's dope. It just adds to the reality of what we're talking about, is that it's real, and we didn't just instantly like click. That was some wrestling, that was some process.
So don't be in a rush. Like if things are moving too fast, it's okay to pump the brakes, because time tells a lot of things. And even if he has all the right answers and he's saying all the right things, you can only keep up an act so long.
Facts.
Yeah.
Boy, you just dropped the gem. You just dropped the gem.
So you want to see a person, I've heard it say, in different seasons, you know, and I'm not going to say, because it was 9 months for us and it was the right decision, but we went through different seasons. Like we went through trials. So, you know, people think, oh my gosh, we had this big blowout or we broke up. Sometimes that's good, because then, you know, man, my heart is still being pulled toward them. There's something there.
Right.
So the conflict actually can refine and highlight the value of this person to you. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That something came to mind when you dropped that jewel. Like, I think some women feel like because of past experiences with actors, with men who have portrayed themselves certain ways and then flip the script, or they have a big conflict with multiple relationships, they finally get to the point where they just resolve, like, man, it just ain't no, there's no good guys. I keep meeting these like bums, or I keep meeting these two-faced people that I keep getting cheated on. I keep getting, you know, manipulated. I keep getting used. Like, man, I'm done. There's no good guys. Like, that's a reality, because it shapes a belief in their mind. And now every guy is probably not going to measure up, or she's going to have a wall up of trust because of past experiences. Yeah, that's something that has to be worked through.
Yeah.
And then also analyze where are you encountering these guys? Is it a certain environment you putting yourself in? Is it a certain crowd of people you putting yourself in?
Or is there something that you need to work on within yourself that could be making you vulnerable or attracting that? So it should give pause to, man, I'm not ready to pursue, which you shouldn't be pursuing, but I need to work on me first so that I'm whole and healthy. Because you could have a good man and miss it, or you can have a good man but not be in a healthy place to receive his goodness, to receive his love, because you're so wounded.
Yep. Yeah, I've been a wounder in my past, you know, life and stuff like that, and I've seen the effects of how a toxic relationship or a negative relationship can hurt, harm, and like mentally, emotionally damage a person to where they can't really even just healthily function in another relationship.
Yeah.
And so it's true. So you do as women and men, you got to guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your soul, like guard your peace.
Yeah.
And like really take these types of things seriously, because it does have an effect on you in the future, and all your other future, you know, interactions with relationships and all that. It takes a toll. And so you gotta be guarded.
Well, I want to say this because I don't want to miss the opportunity. It may not come up in another episode, but you said something that's subtle but so strong. You are a wounder, and we often focus on where the other person, you know, it can create that dynamic. But for you, it honestly has affected even your perspective. Your perspective was tainted in our relationship. So you struggled with trust with me when there was no reason not to trust me. And it was just based on your experience. So I would say that too, that if you are a person that maybe you've turned the corner and you're making better choices, but you haven't fully forgiven yourself, there's a good man down in there, but you just had a bad stint. Like, you can be redeemed from that. You can bounce back from that, but you can't bring the old mindset or fears. We've heard that in a mediation, fears of, man, I messed up, so now I'm afraid you're going to mess up.
Right.
And so then you create this, you know, trust dynamic that isn't necessary.
Yeah.
So I would say that too on both sides, whether you've been the victim or you've been the offender in any way, like heal from it, but also forgive yourself and release that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. I do remember you can bring baggage from the world that you've been in, and whatever your activity was, and then you could think that that's just how it is everywhere.
Everybody thinks that way. Everybody operates that way, and it's not
true. It's not true.
Yeah.
Tons of good guys out there, man. Like I said, I'm around all the time, man. Just guys that are really building themselves, growing, trying to get themselves in position to win, man, and are trending that way. And you can be found by the next king or ruler or mayor or business owner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're there. Don't rule it out. And don't say there's no good guys. So what are takeaways that you have to drop on the people, man?
Oh man. Let him find you. If you're that woman, wait, which requires patience. And if you wait, then you're going to see that assertiveness, that initiator gift that is important in the leadership skill you need a husband to be. So wait, know who you are, know what you want, but prioritize, identify your non-negotiables. But then you have to understand that just like with that house, what are the things that are most important to me, knowing that there's going to require room for growth, which requires grace and flexibility.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Fellas, I would say, man, find yourself.
Yes.
Self-discovery journey, man. Find out who you are. Find out where you're at in life and like what your gifts, your strengths, what's the vision for your life, man? What's the plan? Like where you want to be in the next 3, 4, 5 years of your life, man, and like really get yourself in a place where you're confident in your own skin, you're comfortable in your own skin, you know what you want, you know where you want to be, you know where you're going, and you know how to lean into your strengths. All right. And also acknowledge your weaknesses too.
Yes.
And don't give in to the rejection cycle of, man, I keep not finding her. I keep dating women and it don't work out. Man, something's wrong with me, right? Don't fall in that trap of insecurity. Man, just be consistent, be patient, and be comfortable in yourself and look in the right places, man.
Yeah.
Don't be going to certain venues thinking you're gonna find you're gonna find,
where
you know what I mean?
Determines
you
what
fishing in the wrong pond. You over here fishing over there thinking you finna, I'll say less, but look, go fishing where you're gonna get some quality, right?
And men, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, right? Not off the bat, not the first date, but at some point, if she's a good woman, share your heart, share your fears, share your weaknesses, share your dreams, because that might be what she needs to know that you're it.
Right.
Don't be so guarded. So
yeah.
I hope y'all enjoyed this.
Yes, man. It's good. Fellas, man, y'all keep balling, man. Y'all keep doing it the way God wants you to do it, man. It's going to work out full circle, man.
And listen, we do marriage coaching, but we also do individual coaching. So if you're a woman or a man and you're struggling with finding yourself, finding your identity, that's what we love to do.
Yes, our passion work.
Yeah, hit us up.
Much love, man. Until next time, peace out.